all those who aren't comfortable with it yet can understand how to work with the form, okay? But for this purpose, for sitting down with your customer to get this signed, I don't want to see a touring agreement in your buyer broker packet that you sit with people. I don't want to see it. If you can get a touring agreement signed, you can get this signed. It still says the same thing. One says touring agreement, one says exclusive buyer broker agreement. Do we understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So Rosa, are you comfortable with what we've talked about today?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you think I can get the best property possible for your family?
Yes, with all the information you provide to me, Cindy, I think you are the best one I can use.
Great. Then I would like you, because under the law, if I choose to work with you and you choose to work with me, we have to have a signed agreement before I can show you any properties, okay? Let me explain what this agreement says, okay? This agreement says that you're hiring me and Starlink Realty and my broker to represent your family in the purchase of a home, okay? It says that you will pay me 3% of the purchase price when I find you that home. Don't panic yet. I want you to turn to the very last page of this agreement, okay? You see where it says other terms? In other terms, I have written in there, if the seller compensates me a commission to sell you a home, your family will owe me nothing. Okay? If the seller pays me a commission to sell you a home, you will owe me nothing. Go ahead, do you have a question?
I do.
Yes.
We put in the buyer broker that we want 3%.
That's correct.
And then the seller is offering 2.5%.
I won't ask.
And we're okay with that.
Yes, we're okay with that.
We modify what?
I don't modify anything because I'm writing in there, if the seller compensates me any amount of money to sell them a home, you owe me nothing.
What if they offer 1%? I'm not.
Then the buyer owes me nothing. My word is my word. Now, if you want to not do that, you don't have to add that in the other terms. But here's my job. My job is to get this paperwork signed without any headaches. And what I found is, it's not a headache. If I tell them if the seller pays me, you owe me nothing. However, if the seller doesn't pay me, you will owe me the 3%. Does that seem fair?
Yes, but I have a question.
Please.
So, right now, with the information you put in this other term. So my question is, you say, do you have 3% or we can negotiate? I mean, like we can negotiate, or we know, like she pay you 1%, I still won't pay you.
You won't pay me the difference. That's correct. You're hiring me to work for your family. So here's what's going to happen. We may find 7 homes that you'd like to see. Okay. And I understand, because you've conveyed to me that you don't have a lot of extra cash to pay my fee. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, because it's hard to me to come.
It's hard for you to come up with that money, okay?
Yes.
So before we go to see a home, you're going to know whether the seller is willing to pay my fee or not, okay? So I'm going to pull 7 homes. I'm going to call all 7 listing agents, and I'm going to ask, is the seller willing to pay my fee? And I'm going to write it right on the piece of paper I give you before we go to see the homes. And then you get to choose. Okay. If you don't have the money to pay my fee, and 2 of the 7 homes that I've picked, you're going to have to pay my fee in order to buy the home, you can tell me, I don't want to see the home. I can't make that decision for you. That's your family's decision. Does that make sense?
So do I have a choice then to... Again, let me confirm that one.
Mm-hmm.
If your share is 3%, and the other person only want to pay you 1%, I am responsible for the other 2%.
You are not responsible. I'm saying that if they pay me any kind of commission, I will not ask your family to pay more.
Okay, I got that one. So as a score, I will be able to see that one.
That's correct.
Okay, I got it. Let's
Okay?
go and do it.
Can you sign right there for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. That's how I get a buyer broker agreement signed. That's how I do it. Does that mean that's how you have to do it? No. Do you have to fill that out? No. If not, you put the 3%, say the seller's only paying 2.5%, you go back and tell them they don't have to pay the other 0.5%. You have to do a modification to the buyer-broker agreement at 2.5%. Okay?
One quick question.
Please.
You may have hit on this. What are your thoughts on putting it in the purchase agreement?
Oh, I also put it in the purchase agreement. Yes, ma'am.
What do you say in the purchase agreement?
Seller has agreed to pay a buyer-broker commission of 3%.
Wait a minute, but in the purchase agreement, we don't know that they've done that. We are.
Well, we do know because we've called in advance and asked, and so we're putting it in the agreement.
All right, but I don't believe
I
that
never, well, I know you don't. That's why we're going to put it in the agreement. Seller verbally agreed to pay buyer-broker commission of 3%. I put it right in the purchase contract.
You say seller or seller's broker?
Seller. Because the contract is between the seller and the buyer's asking the seller to pay my fee. So if the listing agent listed it with the buyer-broker, then we use the listing broker to buyer-broker compensation agreement.
Because I've done that. You said that last time.
Right.
Put that in the home.
That's correct. So I always ask in the contract, and I send the agreement. I send actually the agreement prior to showing the property. So I have it signed already. So I showed 5 properties last week. I sent 5 compensation agreements to 5 different brokers and got them signed prior to showing the property, so my buyer knew my fee was taken care of. And then when I wrote the contract, I included the language in the terms, and I also included the agreement that they signed that they would pay my fee. And we're closing today on that property because it was a cash buyer. We wrote it last Wednesday. It closes today.
Yeah.
Okay?
So, as a seller, as a seller representative, so I should ask him the best way to sell his home will be if we count with the buyer compensation.
That's exactly correct. Because here's the reality.
Yeah.
If you're a seasoned agent like me, right, I'm going to tell my buyer, here's 10 homes, 6 of them aren't paying my fee, which means it's going to cost you an extra $95,000 at closing. Or if you buy these homes, the seller's going to pay me. It's your choice how you want to proceed. And that's the language I use. I sell a lot of houses in Naples, guys. Those commissions are $60, $80, $90, $120, $200,000 a pop. That's real money. And if your buyer's buying a house for $2 million and you tell them they got to give you another $200,000 on top of that to pay your fee, it doesn't feel very good, right? What I learned a long time ago is that real estate is a conversation between 2 individuals. And if you invest the 45 minutes to understand who they are, what they value, and what they need, you can deliver great service by filling their needs. It's that simple. I don't try to complicate it. I've sold houses for free. I want you to hear me. F-R-E-E, free. Why? Her husband was beating the snot out of her and she needed to get out. I sold it for free, both sides. I made not a dime, cost me thousands. It's the right thing to do. Somebody loses their job, they can't afford to pay your commission. Sell it for free, it's the right thing to do. It will come back to you tenfold. I have a customer in Columbus, Ohio. I met him, he was dirt poor. He was raised in the hood. He was from a biracial family. And he made no money. I sold his first property for him for free and the one he bought with his family for free. He now owns 325 investment properties, and he gave me 100% of his business for 15 years.
Wow, that is big. You never know.
15 years. I got 100% of his business. I sold him 100 of those 350 properties until I moved to Southwest Florida. Do the right thing, even if it costs you money out of your pocket. It's not always about the dollars and cents. I want you to hear me. It's not always, right? Sometimes you can sit with someone. What if someone has to sell their home because they got diagnosed with a terminal condition and they don't have medical insurance and they need the equity in their home to pay the medical bills to save their life? Do you think that's a real thing? It's a real thing. And here's the problem. If you don't ask questions, you don't know. Great questions are like peeling an onion. Right? I sit with you guys, and the first 2, 3, 4 meetings I have with you, all I talk about is your family, what you like to do for fun, and your kids, and how you think. Because until I understand how you think, I can't teach you anything. Right? Ben, we did a listing appointment this morning, right? What did you get out of that? A lot. Ben wants to sell his own home. Ben needs to sell his own home quickly because his new home is almost finished. And it's a rough market out there right now, right? Ben's never sold a home before, and Ben lives in Naples. Well, guess where I ran a real estate company for years and sold real estate for 11 years? A half a mile from where Ben lives. So I'm going to list Ben's house for free because all those agents know me and like me, and they'll show the property. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for Ben to get him the most money possible out of his home so that he can put it towards his kids who are 20 and 22 years old. Wow. That's what we do for each other, right? We do the same for our customers. Now, most of our customers can afford to pay us, so we don't have to give our money away. That's why I want you to put 3% on that form. Because here's what happens if they say, well, gosh, where I come from, most of the buyer's agents are willing to work for 2.5%. I'm only going to do 2.5%. Well, if you don't have it filled out, guess what it's going to be? 2.5%. Then what happens when the seller, D.R. Horton, is giving 5% and a $20,000 bonus?
Oh, they're going to go to...
Do you think you're going to get that money when you deliver great service and get them the house of their dreams? And the seller's willing to pay 5% and you agreed to do it for 2.5%? Nope. You're not going to get the money because the buyer's going to say, whoa, wait a minute. That's money that can be reduced from the purchase price, right? Yes, it can. I have to answer honestly, right? It would be extra money. And the $20,000 bonus, is that money that could be reduced from the price of my home? Yes, it could. It's going to be really hard to get that $20,000 bonus and that extra 2% or 2.5% if I told her I would do it for 2.5%. Feel me? Don't sell yourself short. The last thing in the packet that I give them, once they sign the buyer broker agreement, is a home buyer's checklist. What to do 2 months before, 5 weeks before, 1 month before, and how to get their house prepared for a move. They love this thing, right? That's the last 5 to 10 pages of your packet. Yes? Yes? Mm-hmm.
If we have one signed with our buyer, does that affect the new construction?
It doesn't. Well, it does and it doesn't, okay? By law, you have to have the buyer-broker agreement. If you didn't make the introduction to the builder, chances are you won't get paid. Because the builder's going to say, your job was to introduce me and you didn't. And they came here directly, I'm sorry, there's no commission for you. And then the signed form is with your buyer. Then your buyer's going to have to pay you for that house.
Oh, so they'll still have to pay them.
Yeah, but are you going to feel good about telling them to pay when you didn't show them that community as an option and they found it on their own?
Right. It's just hard because like if they go online at all and chat, those bots come up, and if they make any
So-
contact with the builder.
So what's your first name? What's your
Pam.
Pam? Pam, are new homes interesting to you? Is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, I've actually sold new homes. So
No, you're the buyer. I'm talking to you. I'm role playing with you, okay?
Okay.
Be the buyer for me.
Yes.
Are new homes something that's interesting to you? So we've signed a buyer-broker agreement, right? And here's what I'm going to ask you to do for me. If you decide that you want to see a community, please let me know in advance, and I will call and let them know you're coming. And here's why. Because there's a lot of things built into the construction of a new home that don't need to be there. My job's to get them removed on your behalf. Does that make sense? And if you go and I haven't registered you, I can't negotiate for you and I can't help you. Let me give you an example of what's already built into the new construction, okay? If you don't sell a lot of new homes, you guys might not know this, okay? So when
They just go in.
oh, they do,
On a whim.
but I'm having this conversation when I'm doing this appointment, okay? I'm asking if new construction is anything of interest to you, okay? And here's what I'm going to tell you. Everything in a home is a stick and a brick, and then they mark it up. So for example, all builders have 6% built into it to buy the buyer's rate down. You're paying cash. If you don't know to ask for that 6%, you aren't going to get the discount. All builders have commissions and bonuses put in every property. They also have fees put in there if you use their own mortgage company. And they say they'll only give you the fee if you use their mortgage company. We can get those fees discounted for you. So please, if you want to see new homes, you can go without me. Just let me make the call before you go. Because if you go and I didn't register you, I can't help you save the money.
But some builders require you to be in person. Some
Yes,
of
they
them won't
do.
even do a phone call.
I
And
understand.
If they go online, you're out. If
I
you
understand.
chat with that little bot or whatever,
I understand.
You're completely out.
You are.
Yeah, you
So
have to really
your
go
job
through
is
them.
to really educate your buyer, okay? And that's how I do it.
And they may not even know they're looking for new construction. Somebody might tell them, and then they just drive by. And
Right.
then it's.
And then here's
So
the other
have
thing.
that conversation.
And Pam, here's the other thing. If
Yeah.
you find that your buyer went and purchased without you, you call Ernesto or you call I and you let us call the builder and try to get you paid. Because most of them, when they understand we have over 325 agents in this office, will pay that commission because they want our business.
Right.
Their strength in numbers. It's I've been a broker. I've run real estate companies prior to coming here for 25 years. I've made hundreds of those calls to builders. Right?
It's good to know, because I have sold new construction. I always like to go initially first in person.
Right.
But like you say, if they even go online to look at the floor plans and have a conversation with one of those chat bots, and they're annoying. I mean, they constantly.
They are very annoying.
If they even put their information in at all, you are completely out of the deal. So that's good.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how'd we do today?
Amazing.
Okay? Is this a document that you might feel comfortable using?
Yes, very nice.
Okay? Role play, folks. Role play. I can't tell you enough. My two kids are 27 and 28 years old. If you called any of them, either one of them, Kendall and Hans, and you asked them this question, would you ever consider real estate for a career? They'd say, no, heck no. Because we've done it our whole stinking lives, right? Because I used to sit at the breakfast table with a 4-year-old and role play my listing presentation, right? You got to practice with someone. Don't practice on a customer. It might not go so well for you. Just saying, okay? And don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. And will people tell you no? Yes, there will be people that are going to tell you no. That's okay.
Move on.
Move on. Next, Lisi.
Are these in the dot loop?
That form will be put in .loop. It is on the Facebook page under documents, and it says complete buyer package. You can download it, all the logos in color, and I will have Liz email it to everybody. Okay?
When you set up the buyer's appointments, are you like reaching out to them and like what if they want to just do a tour and they say, oh, I have a really busy schedule?
I was waiting for that question. That's a great question. Zach, that's a great question. So what I'm hearing from you is that you're really too busy to come into the office and sit with me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Can I ask a favor? I'm going to meet you at the door of the first property, and we're going to look at 5 homes tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to have you sign an agreement before we go in that first door. And it allows me by law to show you those 5 homes on one day only, okay?
Okay.
But under the new law, I must have an executed buyer-broker agreement with you to show you a second time. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
So as we visit tomorrow, we're going to have the conversations that I would have liked to have had with you in person prior to going out, so I could understand your family's needs. But we're going to have those conversations as we tour the homes.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask that you ride in my car so that we can have them as we go from home to home. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to ask you to sign that buyer broker agreement for me. And what that will do is that will mean that you've decided to hire me to find you a home. Does that work?
Totally fair.
I'll pick you up at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Can you text me an address where you'll be?
Beautiful.
Super.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I am a buyer and I refuse to sign that one. I want you to show me the firehouse. So you don't help me, somebody else going to help me. How so somebody.
So Rosa, I want to help you and your family. Don't get combative with them. You don't win, okay? I want to help you. But when you go to work every week and you get a paycheck, does Uncle Sam take taxes out of your pay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, that same Uncle Sam is now telling me that I have to have a signed agreement before I can show you a house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Please sign here.
I like that one.
That's how I talk to people. That's how I mean, it might not be comfortable for you, but here's the thing. It's a script, S-C-R-I-P-T, that someone taught me 20 years ago, scripts. And you say a script enough, you internalize it. And once you internalize it, you memorize it. And once you memorize it, you can change it any old way you want to, but the same thing comes out every time. And that's what I say. People don't want to pay me the fee I'm worth.
Cindy, are you agree to the if I have like the buyer's agreement just to show few houses to charge them?
Some people do, yes. I will never do that. I just don't do it.
You lose the opportunity.
Well, I don't lose an opportunity. It's just not the way I like to do business.
Okay.
I never want to sell you one home.
Yeah.
When I meet you, I want to sell you and everyone you know and everyone in your family the homes for the rest of their lives. And I spend my time wisely building a relationship where you'll never go anywhere else to look. Does that make sense?
She's selling her skills.
I'm selling my skills. I have 31 years, and I was at the top of my market all of those years when I was actively selling. Okay?
I couldn't understand well between the agreements. They have 3 agreements.
There are, and here's the thing. Here's the 3 agreements, right? This is a pre-touring agreement. This is somebody that calls you and they said, hey, I see you've got a listing at 12 South Main Street. I'd like to bring my family to look at it tomorrow at 10. Can you meet me there? I'd love to. Before I open the door, I'm going to have a pre-touring agreement that you're going to need to sign that says you've agreed to allow me to show you this home. Okay? If they want to see more than one home, we're going to have this conversation that I just had with Zach. I can take you out one time and one time only by law and show you a limited number of homes. After that, you need to make a decision. Okay? Not me. She needs to make a decision. And I'm going to give you so much wonderful information you would never think about going anywhere else. Okay? Now here's the reality. Most of my business is not buyer business. Right? I'm retired. I can take 10 listings with my eyes closed and make all the money I need to make in retirement. Right? But in order to get 10 buyers that are actually going to buy, I got to take 40 people out.
You can take it to me.
Right?
Take them to me.
But these are great questions, okay? If you make it a difficult conversation, it's going to be difficult. Does that make sense? Yes. If you tell them on the phone, oh, there are these new laws and you have to do this and you have to do that. Have you ever gone to your kids and said, you can't do this, you can't do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, and they go do everything you tell them they can't do? Yeah. Well, grown adults are just like that, right? If you tell them all the things they can't do, they're going to prove you wrong. Don't give it to them. There's no need to bring that conversation up. All they need to know is that prior to looking at a home, they have to sign an agreement. Why shouldn't it be you? Right?
So you say by phone? Or you say
I never talk about the agreement by phone. I'm going to let them know if I have to meet them at a door front, right, and they don't want to come in and meet with me first, then I'm going to have the conversation about I'm going to have a touring agreement that you're going to need to sign before I can open the door. It's a new federal law. Okay? That's it. That's all I say. This one first. She asked first.
I don't know if it was me, but when you were talking about rapport, Ford, F-O-R.
Ford, F-O-R-D. F stands for family.
Right.
Occupation. Recreation. What do you do for fun? And what are your dreams? What do you dream about?
Thank you.
Because if you ask questions in those 4 categories, now you don't go, hey, what are your recreations? No, what do you like to do for fun? On a Saturday afternoon, what do you and your family do? If you're going to go on vacation next month, where would you like to go? Right?
Agents working double agency.
Uh-huh.
Get,
Dual agency is not allowed in the state of Florida. It's against the law.
well,
Transaction broker?
Yes.
Okay. Here's what transaction brokerage means, okay? Because the laws in Florida are so diabolically different than they are anywhere else in the United States. So in the state of Florida, Florida got kind of smart on this one actually. A transaction broker means you can represent the buyer or the seller or both on the same transaction. But here's what it really means. That as a transaction broker, you have a buyer and I have a listing and you want to sell my listing. As a transaction broker, you can sell my listing. If you're a single agent, you can't sell my listing because my listing is owned by Ernesto and your buyer is owned by Ernesto and we're both in the same company.
I always sign as transaction broker.
We're a transaction broker brokerage. So everybody in this broker works that way.
Yes, but when you have the buyer and the seller,
Mhm.
the same transaction,
Yes?
you can collect the commission from both.
Yes. But if the seller's going to pay all the fees, then the seller's going to pay the fee. Doesn't matter who pays you. Okay? You still owe confidentiality, financing and accounting, reasonable care and skill to both parties, right? And you may not disclose private confidential information from one side to the other. But you can still do both sides, no matter who pays. Okay? It's a great question. You're welcome. Anybody else?
If you have an out-of-state buyer,
Uh-huh.
that's not coming to view the property.
Correct.
Let's say you're doing a virtual.
Then you're going to do this buyer-broker agreement, I would suggest via Zoom. Okay? But you have to have it signed prior to opening the door.
Is a virtual tour the same?
Yes, it is. A virtual tour is considered a showing, and you must have the buyer-broker agreement signed. Okay? Dave?
Following Zach's
Done.
question on the, there's 3 different showing.
Right.
They all ask for a commission percentage.
They do.
What do you do, like if you're just meeting somebody at the door and you just have them sign before you just put in their 0?
I put 3%.
Do.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Negotiate later.
No, I'm not negotiating later. I'm just letting them
Well,
know.
I'm
If I
saying-
sell you this house and the seller's not compensating me, you're going to owe me 3%. And if they want to
Different
change,
modification.
yeah. But on the property pre-tour agreement, there's no commission in that one.
But you can, sorry, you can, everything negotiable. So if there's no commission, you contact or put a commission, whatever you call that one, remodification. So if the seller want to pay you something, that one can be modified. So even to put the offer, say, I will put the offer with the condition you're going to pay me this specific amount. So if the seller wants it, she's going to pay you. For me, you do the both sides. Why was all this thing happen? You just tell them today, you have to compensate that. If you want more sale quick, compensate the other agent, that's it. It's 3%, 5%, 6% for everything. We all here with the same mentality about you pay, we pay. Tell them what you have to do, then we do what you say and that's it. You have the deal. But if you still, no, you won't have it.
Pam, you had a question? You had your hand up. Lisi?
Do dates matter?
Dates do matter, yes.
So, because like, I know a lot of my customers and I've worked with them for a while. So I know they're gonna sign it anyways.
Right.
So does it?
It matters. Okay, so if they were your customer prior to August 1st, this is a great, August 17th actually, right? This is a great question. I have clients, the Stewarts. I've been showing them stinking houses for 2.5 years. 2.5 years, right? August 1st triggers. John calls me, he wants to go see the same flipping property I showed him 2 stinking years ago. So we write a contract. Prior to the contract, I said, hey, since the last time you visited, the laws have changed. I now have to formally have you sign a buyer-broker agreement. I'm going to fill it out and send it to you like I sent you the last contract that we didn't get in contract via dot loop. Does that work for you? Yes, Cindy, that works for me. It says you're going to pay me a 3% commission if the seller doesn't compensate me. Are you good with that? Yes, Cindy, we're good with that. And they signed it. Okay? So you just go back to that previous customer, you explain the laws changed since the last time you've been out with them, and you send them the paperwork to sign before you show the house. And I don't care if they're willing to sign it or not, protect your license.
So if I have it signed after I show them, I get in trouble?
I don't,
That's what I meant by if the dates matter.
Lisa, only if you tell on yourself,
Okay.
okay? But if you sign it after you write the purchase contract, you're going to lose your license. Okay?
Sorry, say that again.
If you sign it after you write the purchase contract, you have a chance to lose your license. And let me tell you what, we're not playing. Okay? Does the current law require a buyer-broker agreement for vacant land? No. Does Starlink require it? Yes, it does. If you're writing a contract for a buyer, I don't care if it's a shed on somebody's land, you're going to fill out and execute a buyer-broker agreement. Now, do you send the buyer-broker agreement to the listing agent with a purchase contract? Absolutely not. That's a contract that's confidential between you and your buyer. Okay? It goes in your dot loop, and it gets shared with Ernesto and Liz and Sandbar when you do your closing with Sandbar Title. Now, let me tell you what, the companies you choose to do business with will make or break your career. Okay? For example, when you go to Sandbar, you know who you're getting. You're getting Vanessa and her staff. 31 years in the business, I have very loyal relationships with my vendors. I find people that work like I work, and then I work with them for a lifetime. Down in Collier County, I use Fred Mundy, Mundy & Associates. He's an attorney on Marco Island. He is freaking amazing. And I know when I send him my customers that everything is done the way I do it. It's done timely. My clients are communicated with, and nothing is missed. So when I moved to Lee County, I gave Vanessa's office an opportunity, and they are exceptional. When you send it to her, she looks at every little stinking detail, and it matters. It matters about future referral business. Because guys, if you can totally churn and burn business, and you're always looking for new business, new business, new business, this business will wear you out, it will chew you up, it will spit you out like a bad piece of meat. Okay? It just will. You want to learn to have customers for life that will send you all of their family and friends. You don't have to pay for the leads, and you don't have to beat them up to get the business. They call you, right? 86% of every single seller in the United States that wants to sell their house calls one agent. That's not my statistic. That's the National Association of Realtors statistic. 86% of sellers call one agent to list their house. Are you number one? Because if you aren't number one or number two, you're out of business. Okay? Same with buyers. We have choices. In Naples, there are over 10,000 licensed agents. How many in your board? 8,500. So between Collier County and Lee County, there's just shy of 20,000 agents that can write fill in the blank contract prepared by an attorney. Okay? What differentiates you from anybody else?
Skill.
Your professionalism. Okay? If I go to a doctor's office and they give me an exam and I'm not feeling well and they don't run any tests and they treat me for something they might think is wrong with me, and in 6 months I'm still feeling lousy, do you think I'm ever going to go back to that doctor?
Nope.
No. Our tools matter. Our inspectors matter. Our electricians matter. Our plumbers matter. Our photographers matter. Our coworkers matter.
This may be really out there.
That's okay.
But it does happen to me often. I refer a lot of business out.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm referring buyers, I don't mess with this. It's the agent who I'm referring to work with those buyers.
That's correct. That's correct.
You mess with the referral agreement.
You mess with the referral agreement, that's it. But wouldn't you like to be able to refer to an agent that does business the way you do?
I only do that.
Yeah. This is just a tool, guys. Is this the only way to do it? Absolutely not. But I sold between 50 and 100 homes a year every single year for 20 straight years. Okay? Without a team. By myself as an individual. Okay? In a market where the average price range was $80,000. So in order to make $100,000 a year, I had to sell 52 homes a year. It wasn't an option. I was a single mom. I was the only source of income coming in. And if my kids wanted food and clothes, I had to sell 52 homes a year. One a week. Okay? Yeah. Oh, look at those. I got that big. Right? One a week. But I usually sold 2 a week. Right? Everything is about numbers. And so in the training that I'm going to do in this office, we will have one class like this a week. It's probably going to be on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock. It's a good time, okay? Some weeks it'll be on Thursdays, but it'll either be Wednesdays or Thursdays. I'm going to do classes on how to do a listing. Let me tell you, I never had below 20 active listings at a time when I was selling full-time. If I had below 20 active listings, I had an all-out panic attack. I'd get hives. I'd break out in a rash because I knew in order to earn the money to keep the lights on, to pay for my kids' education and to send them to college, I knew how many houses I had to sell a year to do that. So I knew how many listings I had to carry to do that. Because as a single mom, I couldn't put enough buyers in my car to make that kind of money. But as a listing agent, I could do 10 listing appointments a week with my eyes closed. That only took about, 4 hours a day. That's part-time work. And then I just serviced the business that came my way. So we're going to do a lot about, Chelsea's not here. You can't answer the question. You've had coaching with me. What kind of business are we in? Don't answer the question. No, I don't want you to answer. I gave you the answer already.
I know which one you're
Okay, shh. What kind of business are we in? Someone asked you what kind of business you're in. What kind of business are you in? You're in the service business. What else? People business, sales business. Write this down. I am in the lead generation business.
I know that one today.
I am in the lead generation business. Because guys, without a butt in the seat, you're selling nothing. You're giving no service. You can't have a conversation. You can't build a relationship. You can't even be nice to no lead. Mm-hmm. No leads means no business. So I'm going to teach you how to make the phone ring. Okay? How many of you currently have a KV Core subscription? Okay. If you want to grow your business, you need to have a contact real estate software package. Now, prior to coming to Starlink Realty, I provided a CRM for my team called Sierra Interactive. Absolutely next level. I retired. That system cost $2,200 a month. I want you to hear me. I paid $12,000 a month for leads. I paid another $2,200 a month for my system to put the leads in. I paid $15,000 a month before any money was made for years. Okay? Ernesto has done a deal with Bold Trails, which used to be KV Core, and for $50 a month, you can have a system that will run your real estate business. Invest in yourselves. It's $50 a month. I can't teach you how to grow your business without some sort of system. Okay? because I'm going to teach you how to talk to the computer, how to look at it, how to know who's interested, how to know when they're ready to buy, how to know when they're ready to list, how to market to them, when to call them, when to wish them happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy first year in your house, second year in your house. Are you ready to move yet? I need money. No, that's not how we ask them, right? But there's a direct correlation. If you market, write these numbers down. If you market to 200 people one time per month that do not know you, Chelsea, what's the conversion ratio? 50 to 1. For every 50 people, you'll have one sale a year, 4 deals a year. Okay? If you market to 200 people. Now, here's where the magic happens. If you get KV Core Bold Trails, and you let me teach you how to put 200 people in there that know you. Either they go to church with you, they work out at the gym with you, your kids go to school with their kids, but when they see your face, they go, oh, there's Rosa, there's Lisi, there's Ernesto. They know you. And you market to them twice a month with a very specific message. What do you think the conversion ratio is? Same 200 people. 36 closings a year. 36. Want you to write that down. 12 to 2. For every 12 people, you're going to get 2 pieces of business. 36 closings a year. You want to know how Michelle Thomas can sell $400 million worth of property? Because she understands how to leverage computers. They do the work when she's sleeping. And then people call her, and she goes and she services the deal. She sold 378 properties last year. Her team made $14 million. Oh, wow. She lives in Naples, Florida, in Fiddler's Creek, on a 2nd floor condo. Okay? 36 deals. Our average price range in this office is $350,000. Our average commission in this office is 2.5%. What's 350,000 times 2.5%? I think it's $7,800. I don't know. Somebody do the math real quick. 350,000 times 0.025. I think it's $7,800. Got a phone? Do the math. How much?
350 what?
350,000 times 0.025.
8750.
$87.50. That would be your paycheck. Times 36.
270.
315,000. Okay? If you take my classes and you do what I tell you to do, you can make 315,000 by selling only 36 homes. I say only because to me that's a small number. Now to most of you that's going to be a huge number. But would $300,000 change your life a year? Yeah. Raise your hand if it would change your life. Okay? What if you stink at following instructions? I mean, you're horrible. You never listen to your parents. You failed out of school. You have no attention. You can't follow instructions. What if you're terrible and you lose 50% of the business? What's 50% of 315? That's 160. Who would be happy with 160 grand a year in their pocket?
And we can do it.
157.
You can't do it without a system. Okay? Most of these systems will cost you a minimum of $500 a month as an individual agent. The system that we offer for $50 a month, if you called them directly, would charge you $500 a month. That's how much of a discount you're being offered it for.
I thought that, wasn't total brokerage gonna replace?
No, total brokerage will not do what you need it to
That's
do.
totally different. That's no.
No, but I thought that
Total-
that was not gonna be anymore, so we're still gonna have.
Total brokerage is for back end and for you guys to know where your numbers are.
Yeah, total.
Trails for your
Two
business.
different things.
So that
Total-
can still say.
so
stay
Lisi,
$50,
It's $50 a month. You want to
it's
keep
gonna
it.
still stay.
Yes.
Okay.
Total brokerage, just to be clear, does have a CRM, okay? But it's terrible.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it at that. It will not allow you to make the money you need to make and do what you need it to do the way I'm going to teach it to you, okay? But KV Core or Bold Trails will.
So when are we starting?
next week.
Person, you don't have it, that's what I want to say. If you guys don't have KB cord,
Okay.
Listen up.
guys, let me tell you something. I will tell you that for sure. If you guys don't have KB cord, get in line and get your KB cord because it's worth it. Now we have Cindy who's going to guide you and help you every week to do this thing. Don't lose the opportunity to what they offer right now. Ernesto free. You don't have to pay nothing. Use the resource you have. Thank you. Use it and the coaching because we have somebody. They always say in that book when you want to get money. Follow. I told Cindy I need to stand up, sorry. I told Cindy. I cannot talk sitting down. I told Cindy I want to work like her. I want to act like her because for you to make money. Because I can follow whatever person next to me. But if that person don't make money, make sure only make, let's go and say 50, 60,000 a year. Do you think I want her? No. But if over here, Cindy is making, 60 years a year. I don't want to follow her. I want to follow this Cindy. And she told me to work this way. I'm going to work this way. So use the system. Get somebody who can give you the guidance, the help. And then right now, thanks to Ernesto and Starlink, we have somebody who's had the experience, the capacity, and the knowledge who can be able to teach everything she has and coaching to us. So don't lose this opportunity and use it. Get your appointment, get your credit card, and you won't regret what you have. I'm coming for different company, and usually what they offer right now to us is amazing. So don't let it go because it's very hard to have somebody who can teach you and help you to get to the next level. And right now we have Cindy who has the experience and the capacity, the knowledge.
Well, thank you,
Please
Rosa.
do it. No, for real.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So you don't have that one. Ernesto got it for you guys. So be part of the thing. It's only $50.
So here-
Since I started with the company, it's worth it. I have my own. You can have your own website. You can have your own phone number. You want your own leads, and it's amazing what you can do. So you say I still learning the system, and she's kind of like
So every week we're going to learn something new, okay? I believe in giving homework.
Exactly.
I asked you to go do the homework because I want you to fail at it. I want you to mess it up because then you have questions. Then you actually know something because you've tried it, right? So here's the thing. I've worked as a real estate coach for the last 25 years. My coaching, if I were coaching you and you weren't in this office, would cost you $1,000 a month for 2 hours a month. That's what I get. And I charge it all day long, every day, and people gladly pay it, okay? I came here to be a real estate agent in retirement because Chelsea found this wonderful brokerage. I'd never heard of it, but here's the thing. I've run real estate companies for 25 years, and I'm a small town girl. I was raised by very humble parents who had nothing. And they gave everything they had so I would get an education. So I give back, and I give back freely. So Ernesto and Vanessa pulled their resources together to pay me to help you grow your businesses to whatever you want them to look like for free to you. Use me, I'm here. Okay? Thank you guys for being on time. Have a great day.